President Biden there addressing the landmark ruling from the Supreme Court giving Donald Trump immunity from prosecution for official acts of the presidency. The immediate practical effect of the decision is that any further prosecution of the former president is likely to be delayed until after the November election. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney and federal litigator Vikas Bajaj. Vic, great to have you on the show as always. Chuck Schumer said today in a post on X, quoting here, "This disgraceful decision by the MAGA SCOTUS, which is comprised of 3 justices appointed by Trump himself, enables the former president to weaken our democracy by breaking the law. It undermines SCOTUS's credibility and suggests political influence trumps all in our courts today." First of all, saying the president has no limits is wrong, and that's really not what the court said.
And not at all. Actually, what the court did was save the presidency, not only now, but forever in the future. Our country has a separation of powers, executive branch, judicial branch, legislative branch. They cannot govern each other because one then becomes more powerful. If you listened to the oral arguments before the Supreme Court, months earlier on, before this decision came down earlier today, the questions asked were very pointed. They were very distinct. They were very deliberate. How can we trust the Department of Justice not to charge a political opponent or an adversary? This question came from liberals, it came from conservative appointees on the bench, and that really is the foundational concern. How can we allow a president to act like a president without fear of prosecution when tough decisions have to be made for the security of our country?
Yeah, and we're going to listen or hear more about that in a moment here, but here's some typical media reaction. Look at this.
They're supposed to be wearing these kind of black and white umpire jerseys or whatever. They look like they're wearing red jerseys or even MAGA hats.
If you're a Democrat who's running for the president, you have to run against the Supreme Court.
It's amazing to me, Vic, the same people who were attacking Trump for attacking Judge Juan Merchan, saying, oh, that's an assault on democracy, you have to follow the legal system, are now attacking the Supreme Court, thinking it's open season on the justices.
Well, here's just one task we should all do before we really comment on this. Read the opinion. Yeah. One would be hard-pressed to disagree with anything the justices said on either end. Both interpretations were reasonable. The majority, conservative majority, said you must protect the president. And frankly, the people who are critical about this decision, while only wearing the lens of today's day and age, should be very thankful when they look at what may happen in the future.
I want to get this is kind of expounding on what you were just talking about there. The Wall Street Journal, the Supreme Court protects the presidency in Trump v. U.S. One principle is that a prosecutor in Congress cannot investigate a president's motive in making a decision. This makes sense because such an investigation would be an enormous and disruptive intrusion into presidential decision-making, and that's exactly what you were talking about there.
When prosecutors have a task of reading the mind to find out whether there's mens rea or criminal corrupt intent in the mind before an action takes forward, comes about, that's a dangerous, slippery slope that can never be recuperated from. Yeah. What the Supreme Court says is, look at the actions. Are they presidential by the duties that are given to a president or not, and then make your decision on the calculus afterwards.
But you already have people calling for 6 more justices, and we need to get the same thing. We've heard it before. Vikas Bajaj, great to have you on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.